With the new Call of Duty coming out, everybody's going to have some new clips that they're going to want to make into montages. So if you're interested in that, this video is for you. And if you're not, well, this video is not for you. Anyway, I'll show you how to make a Call of Duty montage in just 7 easy steps. Let's go. Alright, so we have Sony Vegas open right here. And like I said, I prefer to use Sony Vegas for my montages. Step number 1 is going to be finding a song. And there are 2 rules when it comes to finding your song. 1, a song you like listening to over and over and over again. And 2, an easy to identify beat. And I'm not saying one that you can visibly see on Sony Vegas, but just one that you can hear the beat. So when we'll get into it. So you're just going to go ahead and import that. It's Control O. Step number 2, if you're using Sony Vegas, which I hope you are, and which is what this tutorial is for, you hit M on the keyboard to make a marker. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through your song and you're going to mark the beats on the beat. Yeah, you're just gonna mark the beats. So let's go do that real quick. Alright, so I went through and I added like 7 markers, and these are really important because they give your video a layout and it's just easier to place your clips where you want them and when. Alright, step number 3. Now, if you haven't figured out already, you're gonna have to import your clip, which is Control O. I've got an old MW2 clip, not a new one. I'm sorry, I know. Don't hate me. So once you've imported your clip, you got to delete the track audio. Unless you're trying to use something in the track audio, delete the track audio. The way I do that is Control U, select the audio, delete. Boom, perfect. Is syncing up the clips to the identified markers, right? So you're gonna want to find the shot here and sync it up on the beat that you want. So hit S to split. Now delete that. S to split again. I'm gonna find the frame where he shoots. I'm just gonna sync up my clip here. So that's just a basic syncing of the clip to the beats that you want, right? So here he's gonna shoot, kill cam, shoot, right? Very simple. So step 4, and this is probably one of the most, if not the most difficult part of making an edit, and that is having flow, creating the flow of your video using velocity. So I'm going to create a velocity syncing tutorial, but I'll just give the basics. So for velocity, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right click your clip, hit insert, remove envelope, and velocity. Another very, very, very important rule. Do not edit clips that are under 60 FPS. It just doesn't work. If, say, you have a client and they want to use 30 FPS clips, tell them kick rocks. They never work. Ever, ever, ever. I'm telling you, they just look horrible. Alright, so the way I do my velocity and my flow, and like I said, it all is going to change depending on your video. Go about this far in, double click, right click, and go to set to 50%. You're going to go that far out. And now you're just going to bring the sides up to 300%. And make sure the beginning ramp right here and the ending ramp are always fast for beginning, slow for end. So we'll just Shift B and we'll look at that velocity here. That's maybe a little too fast, so I'm going to drag the 50 in, and then we'll do that over here. So this is important actually for everyone to see. I just stopped the fast forward or whatever. You see how often, especially with 60 FPS clips, you can get the double shot, right? It kind of goes back and forth. And that just means it's too sped up on the first clip. So you're just going to drag, it takes a lot of messing around. And there you go. So we'll just Shift B to pre-render and we'll watch it all. There you go. And that's how you have flow. I'm going to create a different tutorial on how to correctly and more in-depthly do velocity syncing, but this is just kind of the basics here. Alright, step 5 is adding pan crop to your clips. People always forget this, but this is how I do my pan crops. It adds just a little bit pizzazz. I don't know if that's the freaking word to say, but you're gonna go to this button here on the clip that you want, click it. For the shots, you're gonna start here, you're gonna drag it in a few and go 1, 2 frames in, rotate it, go another 2 frames out, rotate it the other way, and go to the end of the clip, right click, hit restore. So that's for the shots. For non-shots, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna drag it in, but you're only gonna go 3 frames out. You'll rotate it. I kind of go to the corners to the bottom or whatever, bottom and top, and go to the end. And we have another shot here, but if I didn't, and say I was doing the actual just full kill cam, I would then rotate on the beat, right? You see the beat here on the marker. I would rotate the pan crop the other way to kind of give it a rotating motion, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to finish up the pan crop. And that's a good way for you to add impact as well on the shots, which is really nice. Step 6. Now this can be 6 or 7, whichever way you like to do it, but this is how I personally like to do things. And step 6 is adding gun sounds. Control Q, add 3 new audio tracks. Alright, so I just added in the intervention sound, and I'm going to just drag that to match up to the front here. You can do the same thing for the other shot here, but what I like to do is I like to hit control and drag the end of this one out, especially on shots. You can do this wherever you want, and then right click, go to properties, and lock to stretch. So it just sounds a little more slow motion, if that makes sense. But then what I add to my gun sounds, specifically sniper shots, not if it's like if it's a full auto gun, I won't do the what I'm about to do. I will add a bass explosion right under the gun sound, and I'll just lower the sound, the volume, so you get that little bit of an explosion. And I'll just do that over here, but make sure you lock this to stretch. You stretch it, do the same thing. Another thing that I'll do for it is I'll add a whoosh. I can't remember where I got these sounds from, but you can find these all on the internet. I kind of just crop off the beginning here. It adds a little pizzazz to the video, and you know, the sounds don't just sound vanilla. They sound like they have some weight to them. And step number 7, this is personal preference, whatever you like to do, and this also could be considered one of the hardest parts of making an edit, but that is adding effects. First thing I like to do is I like to add my color correction, and I use Magic Bullet Looks. It's an add-on effect, so you're gonna have to find a way to get that. I'm not telling you how or how I did. Basic color correction on. I do, you know, some contrast, saturation, lens. Let's add a vignette. There we go. So this is kind of a basic color correction. It's nothing pretty, nothing great, but it's cool. You know, I think it's good enough for what we're doing. And you can go more in depth and change what you want, add more saturation, contrast, maybe a little more exposure, make it brighter. It's all up to you personally. For effects on shots, I'll do some sort of assortment of blur, glow, drag the brightness down, keyframe it out. So that's a very basic shot. You can add an S shake here too if you'd like, and then you can go do it all over again on the other shot. So that's where the effects differ. It's what you want to see. You got to mess around with some things. But you know, a lot of things I like to use are S glow, glow edges, grain, S shake. These are all the Sapphire plugins. S rays. These are all things that I like to use specifically just on Sony Vegas. It's all personal preference, so I'll definitely do some of my favorite effects. I'll do another video for some of my favorite effects. You're just going to render it out. You're going to go up to render as, change the name to whatever you want. Tutorial. This is my normal render settings that I usually do that if I'm not trying to get 4K quality out of this. So just go ahead and copy this. So that's a very basic way of making a Call of Duty edit. Specifically for trick shots, but you can do that the same for your sniping clips or whatever clips you want. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you have any comments, please be sure to comment down below, or you can even DM me or at me or on Twitter at Ajax Edits, and I stream often over on twitch.tv/AjaxDL. I'll be live there. You can ask for opinions on anything. And yeah.